Here we go. The thunderous sound of supercars in the background. Our winners so far include Wood and Feeney. Who grabs the third one today in Western Australia? What a rocket start for Brock. He puts the car exactly where he wants to on the run into turn one. Waters is hanging on in second. We've got Payne up on the outside, and Will Brown's mixing it in there in fourth position and trying to force the issue. Side by side through turn three, and Matty Payne clings to that third position.
That's the best start of the weekend by a mile. Brock Feeney just launched off the line. He's had a couple of good starts this weekend, but he had nowhere to go in the previous starts. This time he had an absolutely unimpaired look, and he ran into turn one with no problem at all.
Old tyres, turn six, some nose-to-tail action down there. David Reynolds getting a touch-up and a little love tap. They're trying to fire this thing up here. It's got to start under its own steam. And here comes Reynolds having a look down the inside, but how wide are they down the inside here into turn seven? 3 wide is the answer to that question. Crazy stuff. Cooper Murray on the inside. They kind of sorted out. A couple of people have to wander wide, including Lockie Dalton. Brock Feeney's got the lead by a chunky 0.6 of a second at the end of the standing lap. That's pretty much unheard of. That was a rocket start for him. He just bolted from Waters. Cooper Murray's moved up 1 spot, Mark up into 12th position. He was mixing it up big time there. Macaulay Jones has come up a spot in the flurry on the opening lap as well.
Gee, that was wild. That was Cooper Murray and Mostert alongside each other through that kink. And we also saw them 3 abreast over the rise with Brodie Kostecki. Now, David's he's been the victim of a little bump. He certainly lost 2 spots there. And now he's going to lose another spot to his teammate, Anton De Pasquale. So 3 spots in 1 foul swoop.
Brian Wood trying to capitalise down the inside. He's got De Pasquale right behind him, and David Reynolds on the outside of his own teammate with Bryce Fullwood mixed in there as well. Scary when you see them going 2 and 3 wide into a couple of these tighter locations like down here into turn one. There really is only one racing line. The meat and sandwich in the vibe entry there is Cooper Murray. Oh, that was awkward, wasn't it? Because Reynolds caught that inside curve at turn 2 and it flicked the car up. He's got James Courtney tucked right in behind him. Davies lost a bit of pace and space in all this, in all that pushing and shoving. Whether he was escorted down there at 6, I don't know, but he's now down in 10th. So the top 3 have just broken out a little bit here. So Golding was having a lunge in the background there, and it's actually successful. And he's got the makings of it, but Ryan Wood might get 2 for 1 here. No. 3 wide when they get down towards turn 1, and Woody's got 2 in the grass, and he's got a bit of a touch-up going with Golding, who gets stuck into the side of the reigning champion, and this could end up poorly by the time they get on the squeeze here at turn 2. Silkamp, bang! The Red Bull car smashes over the top of the curb. That was wild. Golding, Wood, Brown now the order.
And Wood, if he stayed there, that was going to be a huge crash. So he actually came out of the throttle slightly and he moved the car over into the grass. The only thing that destroys that is when other guys come in that are around you. So he was actually behind David Reynolds, remember, before the stop. Mostert, he was 9th.
So BP fuel's going in at the rate of about 5 litres per second as Payne goes out. Mostert's just gone by the comm box and he's totally on his own at the moment. Wood and Reynolds are now in.
Good point.
Thank you, Mark. So a couple of key runners to keep focused on here as they make their way to the lane. Woody, a race winner yesterday. Silkamp shows the left rear going on.
That looked like a pretty smart stop. We'll have a look at the numbers for that in a second, but that did look like a very good stop for Ryan Wood.
This is David Reynolds having completed his stop. So roughly a third of the field have come in now and taken the first of 2 compulsory stops. At the head of that queue at the moment is Ryan Wood, then Will Brown, and having had that tardy stop that Garth described to us, and we saw it on the replay on the right rear, and then fuel delivery. Waters now in from second, 2.7 seconds behind. So looking for some undercut benefit here for the monster car. We'll keep a really close eye on this stop.
Nice clear on in, mate. On the board, you're clear on exit. Nice and easy for the guys, mate. Wheel stop. Guys, near it.
Golding up to second, De Pasquale to third.
April, see if we talk.
So I'm just looking there, Neil, the battle with David Reynolds and Mostert. Mostert has jumped him now as a consequence of those stops.
That looked like a pretty nice stop for Tickford then. That all seemed to execute pretty well. The four wheels and tyres going on squarely and nice with no fuss. The fuel looked like it was delivered, and he's come out in front of Ryan Wood. As you'd expect, he had track position before. Remember, he had 2.7 seconds in deficit to Brock Feeney when he peeled off.
Yeah.
Park that in the back of your thoughts and see how these lines meet up a little bit later.
Centre on the board.
Nice steady arrival.
Okay, make sure you got a gear. Get ready. Go.
It was actually fuel that held them, it looked like. I could only see right side tyres, but Macaulay Jones, Jack LeBrock in as well. And out they come. So the join here's the critical thing. I can see we're sneaking a look here at the monster car. And it was a 2.7 second margin pre-stop. And now it is 0.7 of a second. So the undercut yielding a couple of seconds in the process. And that'll get better for this lap because Waters' tyres are up to temp and Brock's still wriggling his into shape. So he'll be right on him by the time they get down to turn 7. So this has tightened things up at the top end of town. So that little play that you just saw pulled the leader back on the rope by about 2 seconds.
Yeah. Which is unusual because, remember, the undercut worked so well yesterday for Red Bull.
So Brock Feeney has got tyres that are a couple of laps younger than Cam Waters. His stop was about a second longer and 3 laps younger for Brock Feeney, the tyres, than Ryan. Oh, what a mess this one is. What a mess. I was looking at the numbers in front of me, looked up and saw a catastrophe unfolding. That was wild.
Here comes Mostert to capitalise also. So he'll grab Golding as a consequence.
In the braking zone? Yeah, no, we think it's fine. Play on here. He came across on us.
Yeah, so the guys are saying Andrew Edwards, Will Brown, just having a little conflab as to what happened should you move that much in the braking zone. And the last part of it was that Andrew Edwards said, press on, we think that's fine. And Mostert was able to capitalise on the drama that Golding had coming out of the final corner. But that could have been a monster.
Yeah, if that had gone sideways by just another margin, it would have been a shocker. Golding, Brown, we're on replay over the top of the hill. And then he makes the dive just past the crest, and then he squeezed him to the right, and then ultimately gets down the inside. And I'm sure that the stewards and the driving standards advisor will have a long, hard look at that to see whether or not they think it's right, wrong, or whether that's an indifferent view. But it meant that, here we go, here's the onboard, little brake bias adjustment on the way, and there was only a 3/4 hole down there. There'll be varying views on that one.
There will be, but he was shifting it in the braking area, which is the one that Will was saying over the radio. The reason that Golding wanted to stay in front so savagely was that he had 7-lap better tyres than Will Brown, and they were line astern before the stops. And have a look just in behind. Di Pasquale has a 10-lap differential younger tyre than what Will Brown has. So Will Brown stopped on 22. Di Pasquale on 32. So he's made a huge amount of ground, and Golding up and over that inside curve. And this is actually making it easy for Anton, because when he gets to both of them, he'll have genuine pace. It's a bit of an ugly moment with those two there again.
They're managing to actually fumble each other to the extent that Di Pasquale be just licking his chops at the moment.
For sure. And look for Anton when he comes off turn 5. Because with those younger tyres, if he can get it off here and fire himself down the inside of turn 6, he'll put this move on. Pete Gibberis there in the background, owner of the Premier team, the Newline Racing Camaros. 3 of these Camaros, all from different race factories. And here we go. That was the move. This is a massive one.
So Woody on Waters now moves him up into position number 3. Cleanly done into the braking area down here at turn 7. Shadow starting to lengthen down here in a couple of critical spots on the racetrack as well, as we go back and pick up on this wild battle that involves Brown, Golding, and then Di Pasquale next. So these guys are 5, 6, and 7 in the field, with Kai Allen yet to stop. He's going to have young tyres, and the younger tyres are performing well today. those that stretched their stints and have got onto the younger tyre are seeing some yield at the moment, and that is also being factored in the bunkers up and down here as everybody thinks about when they take their next stop and how long and how wide that window in the final portion of the race where the track condition will be at its best.
Nice and easy on the boards, mate. Take it easy with these guys. Nice, good job.
That's going to force Red Bull to drive around them. As you can see, they're next to each other.
And that puts
on the angle.
Puts him on the angle, and that's a bit awkward. Done and dusted, out he goes. Followed there by Will, so that was a slightly awkward arrival, and there's Golding in the background. Meantime, Rock continues to cruise around over Matty Payne with a 20-second margin.
Golding got him. He's got him. So he hasn't got Waters, but he definitely got Will Brown.
Go.
So nice execution there by Premier. Good pace. Early stop now. It's obviously got older tyres, but you can see how close he is even to Cam Waters there, Neil. He's right behind him.
Brock Feeney's now in. So they're responding because, as I pointed out with those numbers a moment ago, the undercut has tightened things up a little bit here. So they're not going to leave him out too much longer and risk it. They react. It's critical that they get this done nice and smoothly. Fuel's done, and fuel and tyres were all but simultaneous. Let's see where or not he blends.
And he's trying to get him. Golding actually went down the outside. He's putting pressure on Waters in the background.
Yeah, watch down here. So there's our race leader. There's the margin. So that's what matters there in the gap between first and second. So that gives you a clean understanding of this battle. And then what Mark's referring to here in the intensity between Waters and Golding. Oh, problem here for Cooper Murray. This might change the game slightly.
I'll see you now, I see you, don't worry.
This is possibly a safety car.
Now, that's a weird place to be parked, isn't it, on the right-hand side of the road in the braking approach to turn 6.
Pretty dangerous where you are.
It is dangerous down there because that approach speed is very, very quick. 220, 225 Ks down there. So the safety car, I've been talking all weekend about where is it. We normally see it, but finally late in the day on Sunday, it appears on the scene. The BP Pulse safety car will come out. They count down as they bring the car speed down to the nominated speed. And in fact, Golding nearly drilled, almost drilled. That's the voice of David Stewart in the background. I was out the ComBox window. Golding all but hit the back of Waters as they were slowing down to that countdown.
Here's Matty Payne. And just in behind is James Courtney. So James will come into the BRT stop, and here's Garth.
So Matt Payne, if you remember back to his first pit stop, they had a problem getting all the fuel into the car. They were hanging out for a safety car. They needed this safety car to get him back in the game. He was saving fuel from when he left pit lane after that first pit stop. He would have had to save fuel all the way home. This has got him out of jail, and not only is he getting the fuel that he needs, he's completing this pit stop, and it's half the time you lose doing the pit stop under full course yellow. He now is right back in the game.
And the reports from Cooper Murray in the Vibe entry is that the engine just seized.
Oh, wow, that's an unusual thing to hear. So he's going to drop into second here.
Second here?
Yeah, so this is the
massive game.
Yeah, so Garth was onto it. So yeah, you get, because the field's gone slow. Look at that.
So save fuel, bulk fuel save in this period now, then we can push to the end. So bulk fuel save.
We're going to get green flag shortly, and I can assure you that this is going to explode into a heavy-duty battle at the back end. Flags are showing green. And those cars lighting up in the background. They can't pass until they get past the control line on this pit straight, and then they've got to get those temperatures and pressures back up, get those brakes working again, and find out what they're dealing with. Sometimes the cars behave a little differently after a safety car intervention in the way the tyre interacts with the road. We're into it one more time. We've got 14 laps to go. Feeney's got control of the field at the moment over Payne from Wood, but there will be some ducking and diving going on out there while they can in this early phase of the restart.
Certainly will be. Look for James Courtney to put a move on Ryan Wood down here at turn 6. He's right in behind him. Wood's already moved over to cover. He'll try to crisscross him. He gives him a little bump, and now we're trying to drive it off the corner, up the inside, to get up the inside, and those fresher tyres already put to effect.
James Courtney was nudging him all the way through turn 6. Have a go at Waters in the background here. He's underneath him as well. And he probably gets an advantage out of this. Woody's in a bad spot on the outside. James has got the slide on. He runs wide. Cam Waters down the inside. James ducks to the right-hand side of the road. He almost jumped into the pit lane. He crosses back to the wide line. It's on down here, and Wood drops a bunch of spots in the process, and Golding gets into the game as well.
Yeah, gee, that was a pretty wild moment there as they come out of 6 and down the hill. It was a bit of a bump draft scenario there for Cam Waters. It gave him a push, and then Golding was able to capitalise also. So these fresher tyres for Courtney put to great effect immediately. Cam Waters now under pressure from Golding.
0.2 of a second is the gap between Feeney and Payne. Matty Payne is applying the blowtorch here at the moment. Andrew Edwards on the radio to Will Brown, who's at the back of this train. That's the reason for the elongated position in the points, because of where Will is in the field at the moment.
Right.
And that is helping Brock Feeney. But have a look at the queue forming up here behind Waters at the moment. And the margin at the front, he's run wide when he couldn't afford it. Woody could have an opportunity here to capitalise. They're side by side, and there's going to be nothing in this. Can he hold on? Ryan Woody's wide. They're both off the road. What a disaster for both those guys. A couple of hard heads have run themselves off the road, and they've blown up.
Are you serious?
Oh, they are feral. They are feral on the radio.
And that has cost those two dearly. So up front, meantime, it is an awesome battle going on between Feeney and Payne. And that was always going to unfold, because trying to go 2 by 2 through that part of the racetrack is a near impossibility. But we've got a magical race going on at the front here at the moment, and Golding off the road now as a result of what's gone on with that car.
No steering.
Now, does that mean that we get another safety car intervention here? We've only got 8 laps remaining.
Maybe.
Look at the margin up the front. There is nothing in this at the moment. These guys are fully in combat mode. It's 0.3 of a second. This is what the margin looks like. They've skipped away from James Courtney. So Feeney, Payne, Courtney, Waters, Brown, 1 through 5 at the moment. And a question mark as to whether or not, no, he's up and away. He's up and away at the moment. Oh my goodness, that thing is swallowing kilos of dirt. But look at have a look at the steering.
Mate, you got a broken front right control arm, mate. Broken front right steering arm.
The other thing is Matt Payne, real kudos, because that fuel saving earlier in the race has capitalised on that opportunity late. So he wouldn't have been able to do it without that fuel saving.
Half a lap remaining, and it's gone out to 0.5 of a second now. Brock might be safe. He was quick yesterday afternoon and stitched together a victory. Remember, he's come into today's race with a points margin. He's potentially extending that right now, given that his teammate that's been threatening him is down in 5th position. Out of turn number 6 now for the very last time. Down into the braking area. He cannot afford to relax, though, because there is nothing in it. That was Di Pasquale limping in the background, as I suggested. He's gone down to 18th. But Sunday in Perth belongs to Brock Feeney. And what a fantastic performance to wrap up by the tiniest margin from Matt Payne and take it out. James Courtney. And what a thrill for the organisation at the Blanchard Racing Team. Snowy River Caravan's entry for them to get a podium today. Nice work, well done. Victory number 5 today in the championship season for Brock Feeney.
Man, was that awesome or what? How do they finish? Like this. Another squeaker between Feeney and Payne. This time, it works out the way of the championship leader and extends that championship lead. Courtney home for 3rd. Waters, a solid day. Will Brown was actually fighting a fuel pressure issue, but managed to switch it over to the reverse fuel pump, finish inside the top 5. Reynolds home for an important top 10. Great reaction and from the team at Penrite to get Kai Allen up the order as well. Something went down with Richie Stanaway and Bryce Ford. Those two were having words at the end of that one. Interesting, because Bryce was actually a lap down. Lockie Dalton, great to have him joining the field here this weekend. And how about that Golding 22nd? Wood, not classified. Hill just sneaking in as well.